The medical circuit. Assuming everyone's tightened their straps, checked their gear, then I say we head on in. Given the terrain ahead, though, it might be wise to leave some distance between us. We don't want to be stumbling over each other if it comes to a fight. Take it slow, and don't forget to check your surroundings from time to time. We can meet up again on the other side, at the other side of the tunnel. Okay. Wait, this ain't a dungeon. This is a. Oh, it's a pathway. Gonna be a little slow because I need it. But it's so good. Gonna be honest. I wish I had a pizza. Hey, we're on the other side. Yeah, that's because I made it to. I'm 81 now. made it through without incident. Not a consequence, at least. And as promised, the tunnel has delivered us into the medical circuit. As I recall, this tier is where they keep a wide variety of samples for agricultural production. If Aaronvale's assumption holds true, that specimens are being collected in preparation for a great migration, then we should see evidence of such plans in the area's research project. Let's follow the path to the nearest farming facility. See what we see. Aha! Now I know where we are. This is Mariel's Agronomics. Starting to think Square Enix is just making up words at this point. Agronomics? Labyrinthos is host to a wide variety of vegetation. It allows us to conduct studies or cultivation methods utilized in foreign land. And it is this facility which coordinates and oversees those efforts. Fruits of their research go to feed their Labyrinthos colleagues, or so I hear. More notable success might make it to the Agora. Foods so exotic, you'd be hard-pressed to guess their origin, let alone how they might taste. Indeed, mystery vegetables without a name. Without a name, only a list of nutritional benefits scribed on a card. I see no gleaner's whereabouts. Hereabouts. Yet those workers seem to share that same sense of urgency. It is possible they know something of the forum's plans and their underlying motivations. Worth looking into, wouldn't you say? Yep. See what you can collect from the workers. The rest of us will do the same or care about for useful clues. Yes. Let's do that. So much bread. Side quest? No. Can I read for that? No. Very hard. What crops are we raising? Well, as you can see, this one is a variety of grapes. Only needs a good source of sunlight to grow. And the conditions here are nothing short of perfect. Hardly surprising given that the native to a particular locale. It's native to a particular locale in the very place upon which Nabrietros was modeled, a region in the south of Isabar. It boasts remarkable habitat diversity, allowing for numerous flora and fauna to thrive. Hilly peaks in the north give way to swaths of temperate plains, which in turn transition into a hot, humid coastline. Such bountiful territory is even contested, as you might expect. Used to be called Corvus before the Imperials and renamed it Locus the Forum. Saw it not as a prize, however, but as a research ideal environment. One whose climate we strove to recreate within the confines of Labrietos. It's since provided a rich foundation for countless experiments in cultivation. Oh, look at this guy. Oh, look at him. I want one. I want one. I want one in my life. I need him in my life. We must find out how to get rid of them. Time for another bite. Do I have aught to be taken down below? More than I could carry and then some. Most of our stocks is sent off via the cargo but some have been earmarked for aerial transport, hence the stack of crates atop that hill over there. God, hauling the lot up that slope was a job and a half. Transport. Well, hello there. We weren't expecting visitors. Now, with use of the lift being restricted, how did you make it down here anyway? A mindset you say, well, you're a much hardier soul than I. Under normal circumstances, I'd reward such tenacity with a guide toward the field, but I'm afraid the forum has a spelling orders list all along. Massive yet detailed requests. Literal wagon loads of crop samples. And hardly any time to put them together. When I first heard of this grand reorganization, I assumed we would be shuffling around old stock to make room for new. Then came the orders for the ridiculous quantities of seeds we all thoroughly researched. Passage trades. I pressed for an explanation and was met with a vague reassurance that all will be revealed in due course. Not the most satisfying answer. In other words, we don't know what's going on. We just do our job with it. At least one person was like, somebody's got to tell us what to do here. What are we doing this for? But at least they're not... At least when we explain how we got down here, it was like, oh. You know what? Normally, they probably were supposed to send us back. On me. I had no choice. Now you're probably wondering, why are a bunch of people staring at a bunch of stacked boxes? And the reality is, it's probably a country. The labels on these crates tell the story of their content. Bundle of common seeds and saplings, accompanied by skills of reports. Ooh.
Hard to look away, isn't it? But they're more than pretty flowers. Heart blooms are attuned to ambient emotion. You don't seem convinced, but believe me, it's true.
I believe you. Just what? Explain a little further.
This ashen grey, for instance, it mirrors the anxiety and urgency of those working nearby as they rush to fulfill sudden orders. Intense feelings like those spur the petals to change color. Bright glowing hues in the presence of joy. Dark, subdued shades for frustration or despair. Yet even with the collected wisdom of Charlian at our disposal, we've yet to identify the underlying principle of this empathic effect. And there are other mysteries besides. Although the flower is extraordinarily long-lived, its low reproductive rate has made it difficult to find younger populations growing in the wild. With too few sightings to map its distribution, and no closely related species to track, we've been unable to pinpoint its land of origin.
I might know where it comes from.
To further complicate matters, every culture, even dimly aware of its existence, has given it a different name and mythos. Our attempts to study it via the historical record have been an exercise in frustration. As an avid botanist myself, I should one day like to unravel the Heartbloom's secrets. But I'm afraid other duties must take precedence. I will leave you to your thoughts.
I like him. Ooh! Oreo thing?
Have you learned aught of interest? A flower that reacts to one's feelings. Strange. I must say, I have never heard of such a thing.
This is all very fascinating. But as it stands, we fail to gain any significant insight into the Forum's undertaking.
One thing. Well, we have learned one thing. Everyone's freaking out and upset and just in a panic. Judging by the flowers.
Indeed. While there is
The
certainly
flowers
enough
is proof of
activity to
that.
support Erenville's supposition that a priority has been placed on improving food production, unfortunately for our investigation, these workers were never informed as to how their duties serve the master plan.
If only we could interrogate the Forum members directly.
Can we just grab one and do it? What if not all the Forum members know what goes on? What is going on? What if it's a select hand?
Isn't that the entrance to the arcade? Look, there. I think that's Erenville.
A little difficult to tell from here, but I think you're right. He did say he was coming down to make his report.
Erenville receives his orders from the Forum. Would it not follow, then, that the superior to whom he reports is a Forum member, or at least a close associate?
You mean to eavesdrop on their conversation? What of the risks?
Oh, we've done it before.
Ours alone to bear. We won't interfere with Erenville's work, nor will he be implicated as an accomplice. If you're not comfortable taking part, I can do this alone.
Nay. I said myself that I wished to know Father's intentions. And no answers will be forthcoming should we simply ask nicely.
Exactly.
We can apologize later, should it come to it. Right now, we need every crumb of information we can get our hands on. Consequences be damned.
It might be best if you came along as well. In fact, we should all...
Kyle? Oh, are you okay?
Cryle?
Up to us, Kyle.
Oh, yes. That certainly sounds like a plan. I'm glad you agree.
Quickly! Erenville is on the move. We need to get closer before we lose him.
Oh, what is...
Almost. I can almost reach you.
Ooh. Kyle's still feeling unwell. I've never seen her so distracted. Keep an eye on her. We'll keep moving through. Do not let Our chlorine put away. I want to read this before. Forgive me, my attention. Oh. Yes. I wanted to read what she said before. The full report. Warts and all. Sorry. That was a big one. Aaronville was headed westward. Along the path. We can still catch them. Alright, let's go this way. What the hell, you guys? Watch out! Get clever. Sorry, I like the music. That's why I'm bouncing around like this. I can still hear it. The sound. Alright, food is done. Let's go. Let's do that. Hold a moment. I have an idea. If memory serves, that colossal wall-like structure is long Discon Beta, one of Labyrinthos' climate control centers. It should have its own lifts, with which one could access the upper or lower tiers. If I were an agent of the forum, it would make it for a convenient meeting place. But even if we were to happen to find Aaronville and the company prefer open, I expect them to reveal issues of importance if we nonchalantly pull. Undetected. Bodhi Graha and his banish spell were here. Oh, but there are other ways of turning invisible. Hippity hop, my little toads. Oh no, don't do it, don't! Fine. Are you? This is happening. Stola has turned us into toads. Unaccustomed to transfigurations? Worry not, it will wear off within the passage of time. I suggest you and your green companions hop along and catch up with Aaronville. Did you feel the magic's fading? Return to me and I will refresh the encounter. What am I to do in the meantime? Wait here with me. In your current state of mind, you'd be as likely to leap into the jaws of a predator as you would learn anything of note. Aww. Reminds me, where are the creatures hereabout? In that form, you are essentially defenseless. You have changed into a turd. You must remain transfixed in order to progress with the story objectives. You will return to your status if you move too far away. Look to your map. Transfiguration area effect. Your soul are to be stored for longer. My god, I'm a frog. Ribbit ribbit. Alfie Toad and Alley Toad are now accompanying you. Keep yourself at your side. Believe your question. If you, I'm a. Wait, aren't we? This thing's going on? Or not us. Don't mind us, just a couple of toads just bouncing around. Can I? Wait, can I jump? Next class race, Toad. Toad class race, please. Next expansion, can we have Toad class? Toad class race, please. Toad class race, right here. Just Toad race. Toad race here. And they have to look exactly like this, and they have to ribbit all the time. They don't speak, they just say ribbit, ribbit. Even when dialogue choices are made. Discuss your surroundings. Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. Attempts and fails to shake his head. Remember, Elias understands that he is telling you this is the wrong. Yes, cross the bridge. Or just toads. Over there. What anyone says, that's just crazy.
I trust you will find your compensation to be more than satisfactory. We wish to make clear that we are pleased with the efficiency and thoroughness of your work. So much so that we have come bearing new tasks in need of your competent hand.
Another lengthy list. If I may speak frankly, the Gleaners have been pushed to the point of collapse by your unending demands. We are not familiars to be exploited. We are Charlian scholars, and we deserve an explanation for this unseemly treatment. What warrants such urgency?
In an age long past, Charlian was charged with a momentous duty. And now that word of the final days hangs heavy in the air, the time has come for us to fulfill that charge. I can say no more, but I promise you this. All will be revealed in due course. And when it has, you will understand that your toil was in service to the greatest good.
Then I will do your bidding. For now. But unless you wish the Gleaners to rise up in protest, I advise you to offer tangible improvements for our working conditions. Your promised revelation does nothing to address present circumstances.
A fair point. Your concerns will be conveyed to the Forum.
So they know about the final days. But it sounds like they're prepping something in their own way.
I hope that was informative. You may consider my debt to you repaid in full.
How did he...
While I do have my reservations about the Forum, I want to believe that they have our best interests at heart. Which is why I'm reassured that you're busy sniffing out the truth of things. We can ill afford to place all our eggs in one basket, this master plan of theirs, without first understanding the risks involved.
Just noticed, that's a
Wait.
male
How
Vieira.
did you know it was us?
If you mean to impersonate a toad, try studying the real thing. And don't try to fool an expert.
I didn't even notice until now, but that's a male Vieira. It explains why he's so good looking. Here, I thought he was so good looking. It's a male Vieira. I suppose we should have known a gleaner who specializes in animal procurement. Like that, he's so easily deceived that he seemed inclined to put his trust in us all the same. More importantly, perhaps we've discovered a new piece of the puzzle. This momentous duty. The Forum agent. Darlian has been called to action, and the teleportized decoration was the catalyst. Whatever charge it is they hope to fulfill, they deem it sufficient import to disrupt all of the Lafayere's not to mention ignore Eorzea's quest for aid. Like I said, Dane... Oh. I thought that was an Aetheryte, but it's not. A guide of sorts. What duty could warrant the direct involvement of the Forum and the continuous commitment of all its resources? Judging by what we heard, none of the gleaners were offered any kind of explanation. But it seems abundantly clear that we'll learn nothing new by pressing them further. We should head back to the Stoller Crowd for the moment, see what they think of this. So I guess I'm starting to think that when the final days are announced, the moment it was announced that the final days are upon us, apparently the true job of what Charlian is was sprung into action. I think they're carrying out a promise, or is it probably a condition that was met for them. But you don't want to go around telling everybody the final days, I guess. That's why they keep a lid on it. You don't want anybody to know because it'll cause panic. And that's kind of what we've been doing the whole time. Welcome back. I trust you found Erenville. Interesting. I had a feeling you would learn something important. Even if that something was simply a confirmation that no one knows much of anything. We should share this with Crowd to discuss how we'd like to proceed. Assuming we find her back at the farm, she was still behaving oddly, so I bid her return unless there. Perhaps not the best decision, High Slate. Would you mind checking near those flowers? He was intro and traced by. The rest of us can survey the marked areas. Just in case he decided to wander. Oh. There's some side quests? So after this, I guess we'll, file. File. No.
For you. The spell will keep it from wilting. She said you would need it for the journey ahead. Will you speak with her now? I cannot hope to match Minfilia's clarity, of course, but...
He's been used. No way.
Thank you. Do not worry. She has lent me her body for only a moment.
Lent or forced?
Just as I could not save the first from the flood of light, it has become arduous for me to interact with the physical world without assistance. Though I might converse with you for a time, the incorporeal form I assumed on the ship would be incapable of casting even the simplest enchantment. It is in the depths of the ethereal sea, the place to which all life returns, where my influence is greatest. After Minfilia's sacrifice on the first, it was to the sea, here in the source, where I ferried her soul. I wished that gentle spirit to find rest in the world she loved so well. Her, and another who may yet have a part to play, though that will depend on you. Take the flower, walk free, for you are free to go where you wish, to believe what you will. That blue will be your guide, test and proof of your conviction. In darkness, seek joy. Surrender not to sadness, and see beyond despair. Walk free, and bear the light for others to follow. Together, raise it aloft and let it shine, till the end, blinding and radiant.
That was all too brief. Already she seems so far away. My apologies if I startled you.
Ever since we began our descent into Labyrinthos, I had sensed another's will, straining to reach out. Even with my particular talents, though, I was unable to make a connection at first, so weak and tenuous it was. Once I took hold of that wispy thread, imagine my surprise to discover it was Heidelin herself. Needless to say, it seemed wise to learn what we could before letting go. Her answers were more cryptic than I would have liked, but at least she left us with a guide of sorts, that unusual flower. Yes, we are definitely making progress.
You can't be serious! We've done nothing wrong!
Uh-oh.
Master Fortuno, what business has the Forum with us?
Obstruction and suppression, apparently.
Mistress Baldessian, our records show you facilitated the Scions' entrance into Sharlayan by claiming them as assistants for your organization. We are aware of your investigations. After alerting the major institutions to the presence of potential troublemakers, we received word from an Archean custodian, a group operating under the auspices of the students, skulking about Labyrinthos and engaging in clandestine behavior.
Clandestine? We may not have entered Sharlayan as Scions, but we did naught to conceal our identities. Our only purpose in this city is to seek the truth. I can think of no reason why our actions should warrant the Forum's intervention.
Unless you wish to
It
hide.
is not our way to discourage the pursuit of knowledge, but the timing of such pursuits must be considered, not to mention their potential impact. With the world in chaos, we, the true caretakers of wisdom, have committed ourselves to an undertaking that demands the utmost discretion. And we will not risk its success by turning a blind eye to disruptive foreign elements in our midst.
What then is to be our fate? Will you put us on a ship back to Eorzea?
The Forum will convene to examine your case. The results of said inquiry will determine your future in this city. As for your absent companion, he has already been detained.
And
Grah! But why? Is reading a crime now, too?
Reading is encouraged, celebrated even. Not, however, of the volumes shelved in the restricted section of the library.
ooh, here. Oh, you were all. He was all the way down there.
Refusing to comply will only make matters worse. Let us instead treat this as an opportunity to open a dialogue with the Forum.
Silence is often one's best defense. I would advise against prolonging the proceedings with frivolous discourse. But enough. This is not the place for debate. The rostra await.
That was very unexpected. You alright?
Forgive me. I was careless.
We would have been detained regardless. This way, at least, we managed to stay together. I trust your time within the Forbidden Archives was well spent.
He's got what he
Forum
wants.
will come to order.
He's got the information we probably need.
This inquiry is now in session. As Speaker-elect, I will be presiding over the day's proceedings. Master Fortuner, would you be so kind as to restate the matter which compelled you to summon your colleagues with such urgency?
As you are all aware, we recently denied Eorzea's request for Sharlayan assistance. Since then, certain individuals dissatisfied with our decision have taken it upon themselves to interfere with our work. They entered our nation masquerading as associates of the students of Baldessian. But these malcontents are better known as the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. These militants wield influence with both the Eorzean and Eastern alliances, and are inextricably involved with the crises presently afflicting the world at large. Loose in our city, these warmongers sought to meddle with and expose matters of state secret. What are they, if not a dire threat to be expelled?
You have tarnished the good name of the students. Galuf would be ashamed.
Galuf Baldessian was never one to forsake his fellow man. Even if this nation closed every door and retreated from the world, he would have found a way to help the Scions, help every soul of this star fight back against the coming doom.
No, I kept her quiet.
A terrible enemy stands poised to lay waste to all we hold dear. In the face of such madness, Eorzea reached out to Sharlayan, a respected ally, in the hopes of forming a united front. Was your curt dismissal truly the best you could offer? Or are you so preoccupied with your momentous duty of an age long past that even the end of the world is unworthy of your attention?
Whence came this revelation?
Well, 10 minutes
The mouth
ago?
of a forum member within fortuitous earshot.
Huh.
Then it seems your findings support my own. The reason I visited the restricted shelves was to study records of the Forum's policymaking process, to better understand the historical trends underlying their most major decisions. At first glance, the positions of neutrality in war and the accumulation of knowledge above all else appear constant and consistent, the unchanging pillars of Sharlayan society.
And then suddenly it changed.
And once upon a time, I might have left it at that. These days, however, I am more attuned to the subtleties of governance, and so I noticed something odd. From a particular point in time, the purpose of these policies shifted. No longer was knowledge preserved for the benefit of society. Rather, society was to be gradually reshaped to ensure the preservation of knowledge. The most conspicuous and telling change was the one which befell Labyrinthos. Once little more than an oversized storehouse, an enormous allocation of funds
saw it transformed into an advanced research and archival facility. I also discovered a fascinating account on the finances of our Dravanian colony. The settlement attracted students from far and wide, and the connections and tuition fees thus acquired were funneled into further improvements for the archives. Now, there is no question that our nation's progress is tied to the acquisition of wisdom. Nevertheless, the vast resources diverted for this purpose borders on the obscene. But returning to the matter of when, our change in course appears to have been made some 270 years ago.
The very same period when Sharlayan scholars in the hinterlands began a formal study of the ethereal sea. You found something, did you not? And whatever it was, gave rise to your oh-so-important duty.
Mind your tongue, Archon. If you had seen...
Yes. We are bound by a duty we cannot ignore. Knowing this, what would you have us do? Abandon our vital work and join you on the field of battle? We will never choose the way of the sword. We will fulfill our mission not through strife and bloodshed, but survival. Come what may, we shall live on. We must.
Do as you must, then. But we Scions will fight until the heavens fall, until our last breath.
Such misguided zeal.
Father, Master Fortuner, I fail to understand the stance you have elected to take. But by the same token, I have yet to find a compelling argument to counter the challenge you put to us in Gridania. Still, in the midst of my uncertainty, I must trust in myself to do what is right, as others have chosen to trust in me. So I will continue, as I always have, weighing the consequences of my every action, and allowing my hope for the future to inform my decisions.
That's quite enough. Have you all forgotten the reason for this assembly?
Skolok Monteshane. He's the head of the Studium and an old friend of my grandfather's.
Honestly, every discussion devolves into some interminable debate. Terrible habit. Let's return to the topic at hand, By their own admission, these Scions have resolved to fight alongside the Eorzean nations against the doom which swift approaches. But there exists no evidence of an attempt to incite our citizens to do the same. Furthermore, while our decision may well have been the correct one, we cannot simply bull our way through these disagreements without inviting doubts or objections. Put yourselves in their place. Who among you would leave a tome unopened if an elder forbid you read it with no reason given? No. If we're to quell further discontent, then we must conclude this matter with a fair and even hand.
Order! We will have order!
Master Monteshane raises some valid points. Keeping such concerns in mind, I propose we enforce the following measures. Until further notice, the students of Baldessian are to cease any and all activities within the domain of Sharlian. You will also refrain from any further investigation into the Forum's decisions and duties. Failure to comply with these restrictions will result in the immediate expulsion of your Scion associates. Let us put this judgment to a vote. All in favor, raise your hand. I count 51 for and 48 against. The proposal is passed. Students, Scions, you have heard the Forum's judgment. Pray abide by it, or face the consequences. Honored members, I thank you for your time. This inquiry is concluded.
Oh boy. Well, at least we've been allowed to remain in the city, and our endless investigations have not been in vain. We now know that this mysterious duties began with whatever the Forum discovered in the ethereal sea. With our freedoms solely curtailed, however, we will struggle to learn aught more of substance here in Charlotte.